happened in Uvalde was a massive tragedy, much similar to that of Parkland as well as Sandy Hook, where in Uvalde, at least 20 people lost their lives as a result of a mass shooting. And it was a horrible tragedy that has once again sprung up the gun debate. And of course, it has caused a partisan issue, at least within that front. However, there is at least one case where, believe it or not, both the left and the right are actually in some strange agreement with each other. And that would be the conduct of the Uvalde Police Department. Because when it was reported that there was a shooter at the Uvalde Elementary School, what the police did was that they called for backup, and they waited at least an hour before backup arrived. Something which sounds so strange, because last time I checked, the proper procedure for a police officer whenever he's in this kind of situation as a mass shooting would be to call for backup to let everyone know, then rush in to try to eliminate the threat. What was their overall excuse for waiting? They were afraid that they were going to get shot. I'm like, last time I checked, being in the hazardous job, such as a police officer or a soldier or anything in that regard, that kind of comes with the territory. You kind of are expected to go into the line of fire in order to enforce the law and protect people, but apparently that's not what happened with the Uvalde Police Department. And this is it gets far worse from there, because while they were waiting, they heard gun noises inside the elementary school, and people shouting and screaming as they were being killed. And as that was going on, the parents were gathering, trying to get the cops to do something about this, but they still didn't do anything. So many of them wanted to take it into their own hands. I can't say I blame them. A lot of them actually happened to be parents of several of the victims. I don't blame them whatsoever. But you know what the police did? And it's just rhetorical. It's a pretty old issue, but it's something I want to talk about. They tased and detained the parents. This is something that should not have happened. Forget the moment of the shooter definitely having some mental problems, especially when prior to actually going into the elementary school, he shot his own grandmother. This even if mental services could not help him with that, a better police response could have definitely saved more lives on that day. The only reason why the shooter was stopped was because a Border Patrol agent was off duty, heard about the situation from apparently his own wife that was working there, and went in, tried to save his wife and children who were there, and shot the shooter. He was wounded, but as far as I know, he has survived from the shot. It was apparently just a scraping of a bullet of his skin. That man is a hero. What the Uvalde police? They're not, and it gets even worse here. I wish it doesn't stop. I really do, because this is just such bad conduct of a police department. And this is coming from someone who supports the police. Take that back. I support the police, but I do not support corrupt or bad police officers. Those people do not deserve to wear the badge or to be able to enforce the law. They would definitely act out on their own accord and their own self-interest. That I don't like. It's apparently shown with the Uvalde Police Department. because over the coming days, as more information was leaked out, the Uvalde Police Department lied to the governor about the situation of events that occurred. Completely lied to the face of the governor. Where then the governor Governor Greg Abbott later had to say that this occurred, that the Uvalde police lied to me. It was frustrating to hear about that. Completely utter frustration. This should not have happened, and the Uvalde Police Department really should be ashamed of themselves. I know that there's a Supreme Court case where it says that the police do not have the right to protect you, which I think is really stupid, especially since on a lot of the sides of cars, it says protect and to serve. And considering that a lot of the laws, like saying murder is illegal, a lot of things like that, and even attempted murder, shouldn't that apply to protecting people as those crimes are being committed? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of, in a way, in its own weird way in my head, it kind of reminds me of abortion as well, with how it's apparently fine to abort a baby, but when you shoot a pregnant woman, it's considered double homicide. That doesn't make any sense to me. But, my God, this is ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And this is, again, it's funny. It's one of the few times when both the left and the right are actually on the same side. We should condemn the Uvalde police for this. Not only that, here's what... I've been watching Stick, Sex, and Hammer, and pretty much I agree with a lot of his points. The entire Uvalde Police Department should be fired. Completely. Get some new guys, and get some new training into the Uvalde Police Department, so that way this situation that has happened will not happen again. Maybe deal with a little bit of the issue of bureaucracy in terms of police conduct, especially with a lot of the wokeness shit that's been going on with, like, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, which has beyond, which I think a lot of us can agree has just gone out of control, to the point where the police are afraid of enforcing the law because they may be called racist. And I know that sounds like a different issue, but at the same time, there is still a little bit of that effect on a lot of police. And even, I would not be surprised if in Uvalde, which happens to be super majority Latino, at least in terms of demographics in this city of Uvalde, Texas. So yeah, I completely agree. Fire those people, get new people, get some new training, some new conduct, so that way this never happens again. Reform the police departments across the states, so that way it lifts some of that bureaucracy and gives them a little bit more flexibility in order to do stuff. And of course, and yeah, I do say this, arm the teachers. 100% arm the teachers. Even if there's a mass shooter, there will be a difference between the mass shooter, who typically does not know how to use a gun effectively, compared to that of a teacher who not only has guns, but is also trained to use them. In fact, that should... yeah, I agree. It should be mandatory for teachers to at least be trained in the possibility of handling weapons in that situation. Maybe even have allow veterans or some other groups, like maybe retired police officers, people like those guys have been actually advocating for something like this for years, to actually be able to guard these schools. Many of them actually said they were willing to do that for free. That, I think, should be 100%, 100% and 10% supported. Do I think it's going to happen right now? No, absolutely not. But I will say this: the conduct of the Uvalde Police Department has actually destroyed a major gun control argument, which was you don't need a gun, you can call the police. Well, if the police were not able to handle if I don't have a firearm, and the police acted like that of what happened in Uvalde, what the hell can I do? The better answer to that would be to have my own weapon, to be able to take it into my own hands, if the police are not really able to handle that situation. I have the right to self-defense, as any American in this country does as well. And already, this situation has destroyed that argument. I think it's actually going to push more states to be more pro-gun rights, even though Joe Biden and a lot of the Democrats are trying to push gun control, etc. It's stupid. But it's going to, considering the trend, especially with half of the country being constitutional carry states, I don't see that happening one bit. What happened in Uvalde was a tragedy. But I'm pretty sure we can all agree that the conduct of the police department in Uvalde should not have happened the way that it did. It's sad, and honestly, it's just horrible. For both what happened with the tragedy, as well as giving a bad light for the cops. Especially when many of them, I'm pretty sure, are good, and much better than the cops in Uvalde. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, share with friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, frame, or whatever, please post it down in the comment section down below, or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost